There's a reason this video needs to exist at all. And it's not because carnivore is bad, broken, or a scam. It's because somewhere along the way, the conversation around carnivore stopped being nuanced and started being moralized. What began as a therapeutic elimination approach for specific issues slowly turned into an all or nothing identity for so many people. And when that happens, the question shifts. It stops being, is this helping my body? And quietly becomes, what's wrong with me if it isn't? That shift is subtle, but it's incredibly powerful, and it's where a lot of people get stuck. If you've ever tried carnivore and felt better at first, but then stalled, struggled, felt more stressed, more restricted, or quietly worse over time, I want to say this very clearly right up front. That experience does not mean that you failed. It does not mean that you didn't do it long enough, strict enough, or correctly enough. And it does not mean that your body is broken. What it usually means is that carnivore, at least in the way that it's commonly presented, wasn't aligned with what your body needed at that stage of your life. One of the biggest myths in nutrition is that if something works incredibly well for some people, it must work equally well for everyone if they just try harder. That belief sounds logical, but it ignores how human physiology actually works, especially in midlife. Bodies are not blank slates. They carry decades of stress exposure, metabolic history, hormonal shifts, nervous system patterns, and lived experiences. So when someone says carnivore worked miracles for them, that can be true, and it still doesn't mean that it will work the same way for you. What complicates this even more is that carnivore often does produce short-term relief for so many people. Reduced inflammation, fewer digestive symptoms, appetite suppression, and mental clarity that can show up really quickly. That initial improvement can create a powerful sense of hope, especially if you've been struggling for a long time. But short-term relief is not the same thing as long-term compatibility. And confusing the two is where disappointment starts to creep in. This is where expectations quietly become the problem. If you believe carnivore is supposed to be the final answer, the forever solution, the thing that fixes everything if you just commit hard enough, then that struggle feels personal. Plateaus feel like failure. Fatigue feels like weakness. Social difficulty feels like a lack of discipline. And instead of listening to your body, you start overriding it. I want to be very clear about the purpose of this conversation. It's not about convincing you to quit carnivore if it's genuinely working for you. And it's not about pushing you towards another diet. It's about restoring trust between you and your body by explaining why carnivore doesn't always work for everyone, even when it looks perfect on paper, even when other people swear by it, and even when you desperately want it to be the answer. When you understand the reasons something doesn't work, you stop blaming yourself. And when you stop blaming yourself, you can make decisions from clarity instead of pressure. That's the foundation that we're laying here, because realistic expectations are not pessimistic. They are protective, and trust doesn't come from forcing yourself into a framework that doesn't fit. It comes from understanding why the body responds the way that it does, and giving yourself permission to respond back. One of the most overlooked reasons carnivore doesn't work for everyone has nothing to do with food quality, macros, or willpower. It has to do with nervous system overload. On the surface, carnivore looks incredibly simple. It actually is. Fewer foods, fewer decisions, fewer variables. And for some people, that simplicity can feel calming and grounding. But for others, especially people coming out of long periods of chronic stress, dieting, caretaking, or self-control, that same simplicity can quietly register as threat. The nervous system does not evaluate safety based on logic. It evaluates safety based on history. If you've spent years restricting, controlling, tightening, white-knuckling your way through food choices, then removing options does not always feel freeing. Sometimes it feels like confinement. Even if you believe in carnivore intellectually, your nervous system may experience it as another version of "I'm not allowed." And that matters more than most people realize. When the nervous system perceives restriction as pressure, the body adapts accordingly. Stress hormones rise, digestion slows, sleep becomes lighter, recovery suffers, and appetite cues can become distorted. This doesn't always show up dramatically. Sometimes it shows up as subtle fatigue, low motivation, irritability, coldness, stalled weight loss, or a sense that you're constantly managing yourself around food. And when that happens, people often respond by tightening further, thinking they need more discipline, more consistency, or more time. But in reality, the system is already overloaded. This is why two people can eat the exact same carnivore diet and have completely different outcomes. One person feels calm, steady, energized, and regulated. The other feels tense, flat, wired but tired, or emotionally brittle. The difference isn't character, it's nervous system context. Carnivore removes food noise, but it doesn't remove life stress. And if someone is already operating in a high alert state, the lack of flexibility can amplify that stress instead of relieving it. Midlife makes this more pronounced. Hormonal changes reduce the margin for error. Cortisol tolerance shifts. Sleep becomes more sensitive. Recovery slows. What you could push through at 30 often shows up loudly after 50. So when a diet requires constant vigilance, social avoidance, or internal negotiation, the cost might outweigh the benefit, even if the food itself is biologically clean. Another piece that often gets missed is that safety is not just about what you eat. It's about how supported your system feels while eating that way. If every meal feels like a test, every social situation feels like a problem to solve, and every deviation feels like danger, your body never fully relaxes. And a body that doesn't feel safe does not prioritize fat loss, hormonal balance, or long-term healing. It prioritizes survival. This is where people start to feel confused. They're eating perfectly, but their body isn't responding the way that they expected. Weight stalls, energy dips, progress feels fragile, and because carnivore is often framed as the ultimate solution, they assume the issue must be them. But in many cases, the issue is that the nervous system needs stability and permission before it can benefit from simplicity. This doesn't mean carnivore is wrong. It means timing matters, context matters, and the state of your nervous system matters just as much as the food on your plate. When we ignore that, we turn a useful tool into another source of pressure. And pressure, no matter how clean the diet looks, is never a sustainable foundation. Another major reason carnivore doesn't work for everyone has nothing to do with the food itself and everything to do with what your metabolism has already lived through. Bodies remember, not in a conscious way, but in a deeply adaptive, protective way. Every diet, every restriction phase, every cleanup, every push to loosen weight leaves a signal behind. And by midlife, most people are not starting from neutral. They're starting from a long history of effort. For someone who has spent decades cycling through calorie restriction, low-fat dieting, over-exercise, or repeated weight loss and gain, the body learns a very specific lesson. Energy is not guaranteed. When intake drops or food variety narrows, the system doesn't interpret that as optimization. It interprets it as risk. So it responds by conserving, not releasing. Metabolism slows, output decreases, and fat loss becomes more resistant. Not because the body is broken, but because it's doing exactly what it's learned to do to survive. Carnivore often gets framed as metabolically healing because it can stabilize blood sugar and reduce inflammation. But if someone comes into carnivore already underfueled, already metabolically cautious, already stressed, the body may hear a very different message. Fewer foods, fewer calories, fewer signals of abundance, and reinforce the idea that resources are limited. And when that happens, fat loss stalls, energy drops, and the person feels like they're pushing against their own psychology. This is where confusion sets in. On paper, carnivore looks like it should work, and it does for many people. High protein, nutrient dense, low insulin demand. But metabolism is not a spreadsheet. It's a responsive system that prioritizes safety over theory. If your body has learned that weight loss attempts lead to deprivation, it may resist any approach that feels similar, even if the macronutrients are different. This is especially common in people who experience appetite suppression on carnivore and unintentionally undereat. They feel in control, sometimes even relieved at first because hunger quiets down. But over time, that suppression can become a signal of low energy availability. The body adapts by slowing output rather than burning stored fuel. And because carnivore is often praised for reducing hunger, people don't realize that they're drifting into a metabolic state that doesn't support long-term fat loss or hormonal balance. There's also a difference between therapeutic use and sustained use. Carnivore can be incredibly helpful as a short-term intervention for inflammation, gut issues, or food sensitivity. But when it's treated as a forever strategy without considering metabolic readiness, the benefits can flatten out. What once felt stabilizing starts to feel heavy. Progress becomes effortful, and instead of building resilience, the system stays cautious. This is why two people can follow carnivore with equal commitment and have opposite outcomes. One has a metabolic history that responds well to simplicity and structure. The other has a history that requires reassurance, fuel sufficiency, and gradual flexibility to feel safe enough to release weight. Neither is wrong, they're just different starting points. Understanding metabolic history changes the conversation completely. It shifts the question from why isn't this working for me to what does my body need right now to feel safe enough to change? And that question opens the door to realistic expectations, smarter timing, and strategies that work with your psychology instead of against it. At the end of the day, one of the most honest reasons carnivore does not work for everyone is the simplest, and it's the one people are often afraid to say out loud. It doesn't fit their life in a way that their body can relax into long term. And that matters more than how effective a diet looks in isolation, because health is not built in a vacuum. It's built inside real lives, real relationships, real stressors, and real seasons. Sustainability isn't just about whether you can technically eat a certain way. It's about whether doing so allows you to feel like yourself. For some people, carnivore feels grounding and liberating. It quiets food noise, simplifies decisions, and creates a sense of stability. For others, it slowly narrows their world. Social situations become stressful. Travel becomes complicated. Meals start to feel separate instead of connective. And even if the food feels fine, the experience of living that way starts to feel heavy. This is where identity quietly enters the picture. When a way of eating becomes something that you have to defend, protect, or prove, it stops being neutral. If stepping outside the framework feels like failure, danger, or loss of control, that's not nutritional support anymore. That's pressure. And pressure always shows up somewhere, whether it's in stress levels, sleep quality, hormones, or relationship with food. Many people stay in approaches that aren't working because they're afraid of what it would mean to let go. Afraid it would mean that they're wrong. Afraid it would mean starting over. Afraid it would mean losing the one thing that finally gave them hope. But adjusting course is not quitting, it's responding. And responding to feedback is one of the most metabolically intelligent things that you can do. There's no prize for suffering through a strategy that doesn't fit your life right now. And there is no moral high ground in forcing yourself to stay smaller, more restricted, or more stressed in the name of being clean. Health is not about how extreme you can be. It's about how supportive your body feels while you're living it. This is why the most productive question is rarely does carnivore work. The better question is for whom, when, and for how long. When carnivore is framed as a tool instead of as an identity, it becomes far more useful. It can be useful strategically, temporarily, or selectively without demanding that it be the final answer forever. Carnivore worked beautifully for you. This conversation doesn't take anything away from that. And if it didn't, this conversation is meant to give you your footing back. You're not behind, you're not broken, and you're not failing because your body asked for something different. Realistic expectations protect us, and trust is what allows you to move forward without fear, rigidity, or self-blame. That's the goal here. Not perfection, not loyalty to a diet, but clarity, agency, and a body that feels safe enough to respond. If this conversation brought up questions or even a little sense of relief, I want you to know that nothing here is a setback. Your body isn't being difficult, it's being honest. And learning how to respond to that honesty with curiosity instead of pressure is often the turning point that makes everything feel more doable. You have to force yourself into a way of eating that doesn't feel supportive just to prove something. You're allowed to choose what feels steady, sustainable, and kind to your body in this season. That choice isn't giving up, it's listening. And we'd love to hear from you. Let me know if carnivore has worked for you. Let me know if carnivore has been a struggle for you. And if this video was able to give you a little bit of clarity. And always, be good to yourself, be good to others, and keep loving life over 50.